Then on Sports Central, we go for a college football game preview and prediction on the 2024 ReliaQuest Bowl matchup between the LSU Tigers and the Wisconsin Badgers, two teams that have had good seasons getting to this point. LSU 9-3 overall. This is a team that had some pretty high expectations heading into this season, though. This was a team that was expected to be a big college football playoff contender. This team was maybe a level below that, but still a strong season for LSU, known for a brutal offense. They're taking on Wisconsin, known for a brutal defense. The Badgers 7-5 this season. Another disappointing season for Wisconsin, I would say, but still you got to consider it's under a first-year head coach in Luke Fickell, and the future is bright for the Badgers. And a strong matchup for them taking on LSU in the ReliaQuest Bowl. We'll be going for a full game preview and prediction on this matchup here today. Let's get started with their team trends. LSU beat Texas A&M 42-30 to finish out the regular season. This team finished out the regular season on a 3-game winning streak, so a strong finish to the season for LSU. Problem is for the Tigers, they lost in their 3 biggest matchups of the season when they took on Florida State, Ole Miss, and of course Alabama, and so that's what ultimately took this team out of contention in the end. But as for Wisconsin, beat Minnesota 28-14, won their last 2 games of the regular season, so 7-5 on the year for the Badgers. So, and really for the Badgers being a team that's been they've been down the past few years for sure. And so for Luke Fickell, first-year head coach coming in from Cincinnati, I would say this is a good year to build on for Wisconsin. The game's be on Monday the 1st in Tampa. Kickoff is noon Eastern. Spread's going LSU here by 9. So obviously, despite Jaden Daniels being out, who is off to the NFL, Heisman winning quarterback, rightfully so, 3,800 yards, 40 touchdowns, over 4 picks this season. I mean, those passing stats are incredible, but also you got to consider he was this team's lead rusher this season, 1,100 rushing yards as well with 10 touchdowns. So an incredible season for Jaden Daniels. He's got a really bright future, I would say, in the NFL. But for this matchup, he will not be playing. It's up to Nussmeier instead of the quarterback position. And despite all of that, LSU is still a pretty heavy favorite in this matchup, over under 57.5, which is kind of high considering Wisconsin's defense has been generally strong this season. Wisconsin's offense has not been very good, but their defense has overall been pretty good. And for LSU, it's been the offense that has been the main strength for them. But FPI is going LSU 81%. You look at the bowl history, LSU is 29-24 overall. And obviously, they won the national championship back in 2019, that season. Last year, they were in the Citrus Bowl where they beat Purdue 63-7. So a very dominant win last season, and they were in the Texas Bowl back in 2021. But as for Wisconsin, 19-15 overall. This team was in the Guaranteed Rate Bowl last season where they beat Oklahoma State 24-17. 3 straight bowl wins for Wisconsin. The last time they lost a bowl game was 2019, which would have been the Rose Bowl against Oregon. Your stat comparison, LSU is the top-ranked team in the country when it comes to points per game. They're the 3rd-ranked passing game in the country, 9th-ranked rushing game, so an elite offense here in LSU. The main problem that has held this team back is their defense, 83rd in points allowed, 106th-ranked pass defense in the country, 84th in rushing. So, I mean, if you look at LSU back in 2019, they were also known for an incredible offense. You consider Joe Burrow and Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, everyone who was on that team, just an incredible offense. And their defense was okay in 2019. I mean, it was nothing elite, but they got it done. Just this season for LSU was different in that the offense was great once again, but the defense just was not to the level where this team could have been a national contender. But as for Wisconsin, 91st in points per game, 14th in points allowed. A strong defensive team here once again. In the Badgers, their offense with Tanner Mordecai has been less than impressive this season. 1,700 yards of passing, 6 touchdowns, over 4 picks. But the main strength for this offense this past season was Braylon Allen, who's been a really strong running back for this team. Yet another for the Badgers. Nearly 1,000 yards, 12 touchdowns. He is not going to be in this matchup, though. So really you got both teams losing their most important players on offense in this matchup. Jaden Daniels for LSU and then Braylon Allen for Wisconsin. Good thing is for LSU, they do have Malik Neighbors, who's been incredible this season on offense in the receiving corps. So it sounds like he's trying to break the program record for receiving for LSU, so it makes sense to see him in this matchup. And either way, it's a huge benefit for this Tigers team, having him who's received over 1,500 yards this season and 14 touchdowns. Incredible season for him. Your recent matchups, LSU beat Texas A&M, beat Georgia State, beat Florida in their last 3 games. Did allow a lot of points, though, in each of those games. Maybe outside of that Georgia State one. They lost Alabama 20-42, beat Army 62-0 back in October. So we've seen some really impressive performances out of this team. But if you look before that, It really started with that Florida State game back in week 1, lost that one 45-24. That's when we kind of saw that this defense might be an issue, and it definitely was in the Ole Miss game that this team lost, allowed 55 points there. But the offense really shined in the Mizzou game and the Auburn game, and really for the most part throughout the season, this offense was incredible, so it makes perfect sense to see a player like Jaden Daniels, who had an incredible season, win the Heisman. But for Wisconsin, beat Minnesota on the road, beat Nebraska in overtime. So a couple of nice wins to finish out the regular season, but it was overall pretty bumpy season for the Badgers. They lost 3 straight there from the Ohio State game to the Northwestern game. Indiana, Northwestern. I mean, Northwestern turned out to be halfway decent this season. That Indiana loss was just awful for the Badgers, but obviously that was when Tanner Mordecai was out. But either way, the quarterback situation was just not very good for this team in itself. So even with Braden Locke, this team couldn't get anything going. But once again, you look at the defense, only allowed 24 to Ohio State. That was impressive there. And I mean, against most of their strong offensive teams they've played this season, their defense has played overall pretty well. Your key points, LSU 9-3. Jaden Daniels is out, so it's up to Nussmeier now for LSU. We haven't seen him too much, so this is going to be an opportunity for him to show what he can do as we look forward to 2024. This offense is brutal. Defense, not so much. That's been the bottom line for this team. Kind of the opposite for Wisconsin, known for a tough defense, not so much on offense. But for LSU, they got Malik Neighbors. They got strong momentum. That's what really LSU is going for them here. But for Wisconsin, got Tanner Mordecai. Offense really not a big threat, especially with Braylon Allen being out. But the defense was one of the best in the Big Ten for the Badgers this season. I mean, that's kind of been the story for most of the teams in the Big Ten this year, is incredible defenses, not so much an offense, and that's what has came back to bite a lot of Big Ten teams this year. But with that, let's get a prediction here for LSU and Wisconsin coming up here in the ReliaQuest Bowl. And in the end, strong matchup for both teams, and you got two teams that obviously are pretty different in their own ways with where they are most impressive. But in the end, I'm taking LSU 27-17, taking the Tigers by 10 here. I think LSU is a strong favorite in this matchup for a reason, just based on Wisconsin's offense. And I think Wisconsin can maybe score 17-20 in this matchup, maybe even more than that. But I do think this ends up being kind of a lower scoring game here, with LSU finding a way to win this one 27-17. I think so. Tigers win at 55%, but I will say, though, LSU's a 9-point favorite. I am taking LSU to cover the spread, but I think this game could be closer than some people might think. I do think Wisconsin puts up a pretty good fight here. I mean, they were cold there in late October to November, but they won their last 2 games and were overall pretty impressive in both. So I think for Wisconsin, they'll put up a fight here. It's going to be more of a lower scoring game for sure. I'm taking the under by quite a bit here. But I do think LSU finds a way to win this matchup in the end, despite Jaden Daniels being out. But also, I mean, for Wisconsin, not having Braylon Allen is going to be significant. I mean, he's such a crucial player to this offense, so it's going to be tough scoring points without him. But with that, let me know your thoughts and comments below on this matchup. I'm taking LSU, but let me know your thoughts in the comments, your score predictions, all of that. My name's Evan. This is All Sports Central. Stay tuned for more. We'll catch you on the next one.